Hi, I'm Brian. Join me as we shine the album spotlight on Pull It by the Monkees. 1987's Pull It on Rhino Records is the 10th album released by the Monkees, and their first in 17 years. It arrived with high expectations because 1986 was the year of the Monkees and one of pop music's greatest comeback stories. The revival was the result of separate, independent events coming together. MTV went all in on TV's first video band, airing a 22-hour Monkees episode marathon, and then airing the show 3 times a day for many months. And the success was phenomenal. The series went back into national syndication, which allowed people without cable to watch the Monkees every day. This coincided with an already planned 20th anniversary with Micky, Dolenz, Davy Jones, and Peter Tork, and the re-releases by Rhino of the long out-of-print original Monkees albums. Nostalgic boomers and a new generation of fans couldn't get enough. The tour extended an additional 2 months, ended up being one of the biggest grossing tours of the year, and they ended up playing in arenas and stadiums by its conclusion. By the end of the year, the Monkees had 7 albums on the Billboard Charts at the same time. One of them, a new platinum best of album. They scored a new hit single with That Was Then, This Is Now. They were featured performers on the MTV Video Music Awards, and MTV's yearly Christmas music video starred all 4 Monkees and aired several times a day all through the holidays. Now, I was so excited when this album was released. Even though it was just Micky, Davy, and Peter on the record, Mike Nesmith had been invited to participate, but he declined. And I'd been a fan of the Monkees since I was 4. I owned the whole catalog, and I was more than ready to add to it. But I remember I bought the single instead of the LP because back then, due to manufacturing delays, CDs were not always available at the same time as the vinyl. So I had to wait a few weeks, and so I would call to check with the record stores every week until finally I found it at Tower Records in Anaheim. Now, people have been critical of the album cover, some calling it the worst ever, but I've never really thought it was that bad, and I never really had a problem with it. Now, in 1987, I really liked it. But in retrospect, I believe that Pull It is just a pleasant 80s album. It's much more synth pop than pop rock, which is what one might expect from the Monkees. And I was disappointed that none of the songs had more than one Monkees on it. None of the backing vocals were done by the Monkees. They were totally solo, lead vocal only tracks. Now, Rhino Records wanted a producer who could combine pop sensibilities with the rawness of rock, which sounded good. Their first choice, Nick Lowe, was unavailable. Others, like Dave Edmunds, were not interested, and Jimmy Iovine was too expensive. So Roger Bucharian, best known for co-producing the album East Side Story by Squeeze, was hired. Now, leading off the album is Heart and Soul, which was the first single, and it's the song that sounds most like something you'd expect from a Monkees album. The single, which was Pink, stalled on the Billboard Charts at number 87. At the time, the most important outlet for promoting records and a key to having a hit record was MTV. But they refused to play the very clever video. MTV had soured on the group when they, at the last minute, canceled an appearance on MTV's live Super Bowl tailgate party telecast in January of '87. MTV executives denied any retribution, saying that the relationship between the group and MTV had run its course. It was later revealed by TV Guide that Heart and Soul was MTV's most requested video at the time, but those results were kept secret, and the video remained unplayed. Without MTV playing the video and the attention that came from it, radio ignored the single and it fell off the charts after 4 weeks. But I believe it's the best song in the album. It It was written by Simon Byrne and Andrew Howell, who Bacharian had teamed together to write for Byrne's solo album, Dream Crazy. The next track is I'd Go the Whole Wide World, which is a cover of the 1977 release by Reckless Eric, also known as Eric Golden, who composed the song. He was part of the Stiff Records stable that included several Roger Bacharian compatriots like Elvis Costello and Nick Lowe, among others. Now, the original arrangement of the song has a new wave vibe that is absent from the Monkees version. Micky is great, but the mix sounds too sterile, and Bacharian had selected the song for the album with the intention of Davy singing it, but Davy declined. The next song is Long Way Home, which features Davy on lead vocals. Bobby Hart and his then partner Dick Eastman contributed the song, and it's nowhere near the top of the list of Bobby Hart's catalog, which contains some of the greatest pop tunes of the 60s. But it's a nice song, and Davy sounds so sincere and does a good job. And it's one of the highlights for me of the album. But I will say that the drums are so compressed with a ton of reverb that makes it so 80s sounding that it's distracting. Secret Heart is another Micky vocal and another highlight for me. It was written by Brian Fairweather and Martin Page. Now, Page has hit #1 twice the previous year when he co-wrote We Built This City for Starship and These Dreams by Heart. But this catchy up-tempo song is a good fit for Micky. And this song gets stuck in my head for days after listening to it. Peter gets a lead vocal on his own composition, Gettin' In. He also plays guitar on the track, the only time any Monkee contributes anything other than lead vocal. Now, this song's frantic keyboard riff is kind of catchy, but there's too much of a oingo boingo vibe to the music and to Peter's vocal for me to get into it. I'm not a big oingo boingo fan. So it might be the least favorite track on the album for me. I'll Love You Forever is a self-composed ballad by Davy. He sounds so sincere on this simple love song that you really believe him. It's a pleasant deep cut. And every Monkees album needs a gooey Davy Jones ballad. Unfortunately, there's another one coming. Rhino executive Harold Bronson and the producer Roger Bacharian were unimpressed with the song when they were choosing material for Pool It, but Davy was so insistent about it being included that he required them to show him proof that they had already recorded the music tracks for the song before he would fly from England to the US to do the album. Every Step of the Way is a cover of an Ian Hunter album cut from All the Good Ones Are Taken LP from 1983. It was co-written by Hunter and his bandmate Mark Clark, who at the time of Pool It was playing bass for the Monkees. This song, along with Heart and Soul, are the closest to sounding Monkees than anything else on the record. Davy sings lead on this catchy pop rock song. I actually like this arrangement better than Ian Hunter's version, but for some reason the lyrics are changed from the original in the second verse. It is probably my second favorite song after Heart and Soul. And Davy supervised the remix of the song for a single release. He brought the lead vocal up and really buried the backing vocals. I thought the remix made the song sound less commercial than the album cut. To promote the single, the Monkees made an appearance on Solid Gold where they did a lip-sync performance of the song. With MTV and Top 40 done with the Monkees, the single did not chart. A silly video was produced but was not widely played outside of various Nickelodeon programs. Don't Bring Me Down, written by Tommy James, another 60s star, with his co-writers Tom Teeley and Glenn Wyka, features a strong Micky Dolenz vocal. It's a catchy, rollicking song that makes a great album cut. This is one of the 5 songs that the Monkees performed during their 1987 tour. I saw them at one of their nights at Greek Theater in Los Angeles, where Weird Al was their opening act. Next up is Midnight by John David, who's a cohort of Dave Edmunds. I think this is one of the weaker tracks on the album. It's not bad, it just seems to take so long to get anywhere, and when it does, it's anticlimactic. Micky sings lead and does what he can with it, but it's definitely not one of my favorites. Okay, next is She's Moving In with Rico, and this song has a lot of haters in the Monkees verse, but it's sung with enthusiasm by Davy, but the reggae and ska influenced song is just silly. It's fine as an album cut, and it gives the album more variety. And there seems to be a bit of a controversy with the songwriter Eddie Howe over this song, and I could not get to the bottom of it, but it looks like the Monkees recorded it without Howe's permission. So if any Monkeeologists viewing this have more information, please share it in the comments. Next up is Since You Went Away, which is Peter's other vocal. It was written by Peter's friend Michael Levine, who would later co-write the title track of Peter's solo album, Stranger Things Have Happened. This song is a humorous novelty song that Peter does a great job on. Counting on You closes out the album. It's another gooey Davy Jones ballad, written by his longtime collaborator Alan Green, who co-wrote Davy's autobiography and was the musical director of Davy's solo tours. Under the alias Arlen Day, Green's solo single, I Surrender, made the Billboard Hot 100 in 1981. Counting on You's use of numbers in the lyrics is kind of clever, but the arrangement doesn't service the song well, and the guitar solo near the end seems out of place. But Davy is in his element with this ballad, and he saves the song. Pull It ultimately sold less than expected. It did sell 125,000 copies, but Rhino Records had shipped 200,000 copies, anticipating greater success. It stalled on the Billboard album charts at number 72 and fell off after only 9 weeks. In contrast, the previous year, a re-release of More of the Monkees spent 26 weeks on the charts. Now, if MTV would have played the Heart and Soul video, radio might have picked it up and Heart and Soul would have been a hit single. And if that would have happened, the album would have taken off. And in that case, I think today, people's perception of Pull It might be different looking back all these years later. While it's not a classic Monkees album, I like the album and enjoy listening to it from time to time. But what about you? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings on Pull It? Please share them in the comment section below. Also, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll be taking the long way home. Many blessings. Bye for now.